The Apollo has had quite an evolution over its 85 years. The doors opened in 1934, and it was one of the few theaters that you could see people of color on the stage as well as in the audience.
When you think about the stories and the artists that grace the stage that we're sitting on now, it's immense.
Fast forward, as we think about the Apollo today, we are really the only performing arts center in the United States that focuses on the African American narrative.
It's a big part of our mission, not only to become a home for artists, but also a home for culture and culture building. As we think about the future of the Apollo, we hope to transform and build a new 21st century canon where African American voices do sit at the center.
The range of our work, the theater, the comedy, the dance, the festivals, I think it inspires.
Thanks for changing all our lives.
So in love with you.
Welcome to the Apollo Theater's Kwanzaa Celebration 2020 Regeneration Night, featuring Abdel R. Salaam and his Forces of Nature Dance Theater, with guest performances by Mumufresh, Marc Bamuthi Jospeh, and the Forces of Nature Dance Theater Harlem Children's Zone Youth Academy of Dance and Wellness, hosted by Imhotep Gary Byrd.
Abaragani, everyone. I'm your radio griot, Imhotep Gary Byrd, your program host for the Apollo Theater Kwanzaa Celebration Regeneration Night 2020. I'm standing in front of the theater that was regenerated by my mentor, a creative genius and cultural warrior, the Honorable Percy E. Sutton. And you're about to hear from another creative genius and cultural warrior, the co-founder and artistic director of Forces of Nature Dance Theater, Abdel Salaam.
Thank you, Imhotep. Annually since 2006, Forces of Nature Dance comes to this iconic theater to use our artistry for two purposes: to celebrate and reinforce the spirit of Kwanzaa and the principles of the Nguzo Saba, and to regenerate our people at the end of the year so we can have the right energy to thrive in the new year. And when you consider how our people have been impacted by closed schools, judicial injustice, record unemployment, and COVID illnesses and deaths, if there's ever been a year when we need regeneration, this is it. Unfortunately, COVID restrictions prevent us from performing to a live audience sitting inside the Apollo this year. So we changed up the format of our celebration from in-person to online at this time. But our mission remains the same. So let us regenerate you with an hour of dance, heritage, poetry, principles, spirit, and most importantly, life in the legacy.
Uncle Jasu. We pour libation for our ancestors, all of those who lived and died, who made the way for us to have the lives that we have today. We pour libation because we say to them, we are strong because they continue to be strong. We pour libation to that first ancestor that rose from the Nun, that which cannot be known except for through its creation and its divine presence in each and every one of us. We pour libation to that ancestor, Ashe. We pour libation to the ancestors of the forces of nature, Shu, Tef, Nut, and Geb, who gave birth to the first earthly ancestors, Asur, Heru, Set, Ist, and Nebhet. To those ancestors we pour libation, Ashe. We pour libation to those ancestors who first divined and ordered the universe and taught us as above, so below. To those ancestors we pour libation, Ashe. We pour libation to those great builders of civilizations who built for eternity, those great monument builders and builders of great culture. To those ancestors we pour libation, Ashe. And we pour libation to those ancestors that took the great trek out of Africa and civilized the rest of the world. To those ancestors we pour libation and say Ashe. We pour libation to the ancestors of the Ma'afa, the great suffering of our people, the great Holocaust that brought us to the shores of Europe, the Caribbean, and the Americas, enslaved but still free. To those ancestors we pour libation, Ashe. We pour libation to those ancestors committed to recovering the wisdom of their ancestors, who remembered a song, a dance, a beat, a word, and they remembered and passed it on to future generations. To those ancestors we say, Ashe. And we pour libation to those ancestors that endured Jim Crow, segregation, lynchings, and disenfranchisement, and survived and were creative in their survival. To those ancestors we pour libation, Ashe. And we pour libation to you seekers of truth, who heard the call of Sankofa and went back and fetched it, and called forth the Nguzo Saba, Umoja, unity, Kujichagulia, self-determination, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, Ujamaa, cooperative economics, Nia, purpose, Kuumba, creativity, and Imani, faith. To those seekers of truth we pour libation, Ashe. And to your children we pour libation, the seeds of our wisdom. We nurture, we cultivate so that they will never forget. To your children we pour libation, Ashe. And to your children's children, Ashe. And to your children's children, Ashe. For countless generations to come. Ashe, 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 O Ankh, Uja, Sinab, Hitepu.
Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday, an African-American and Pan-African holiday created in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga, intended to, paraphrasing his words, be engaged as an ancient and living cultural tradition, reflecting the best of African thought and practice and the dignity of the human person in community and culture, the well-being of family and community, the integrity of the environment, and our kinship with it, along with the rich resource and meaning of a people's culture. Kwanzaa is centered on 7 principles called the Nguzo Saba, and we've got some friends who are going to tell you what those principles are.
Sanibonani, brothers and sisters, Habarigani. This is Duman Dlovu, all the way from Johannesburg in South Africa. As we enter the exciting phase of celebrating Kwanzaa and observing the 7 principles, the Nguzo Saba, I want to wish you all God's blessings and want to talk briefly about the spirit of Umoja, unity. It is extremely important that the founders of the Kwanzaa principles talked of Umoja, and it is extremely important to understand that in the African language of Kiswahili, Umoja means oneness, and in isiZulu, Ubunye, the spirit of being one. I wish that all of us as African people all over the world, in the diaspora, in the continent, in the United States, in all parts of the world, can remember that until we as Africans come together, until the spirit of our ancestors that came before us embrace us and we embrace the fact that we need to come together as one homogeneous group, we will never be free as Africans. As we gather in all different places in the United States and in Africa and in the diaspora to celebrate Kwanzaa, let's remember the spirit of oneness. Let's remember unity. Let's remember Umoja, Ubunye. I wish you all and your families health and wellness, and I hope that God and the ancestors protect you. The ancestors in my language are called Abadala, those who came before us. May they be with you. Peace.
Peace and blessings, family. I am Javier Gooden. I live in Pennsylvania, but I'm from Brooklyn. And I embody the Kwanzaa principle of Kuti Chagalea, self-determination, which empowers us to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and most importantly, speak for ourselves. I embrace this principle by owning my own rite of passage to not only fly, but to soar. Yeah, I'm going somewhere, and I'm taking the strength of the ancestors with me. My greatness doesn't get a day off. My shine doesn't dim. My ancestors made history so that one day I may be historic. Yeah, I'm that young king not only smashing, but dismantling the impossible because I am possible. So get ready. 'Cause ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you know me. I inhale that fear and I exhale a conqueror. I am Javier Gooden, and y'all better get used to hearing my name that has a warrior spirit inside of it. Kuti Chagalea. Period.
Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Billy Mitchell. I am the tour director at the world famous Apollo Theater in Harlem. And even though my name is Billy Mitchell, a lot of people call me Mr. Apollo. And I think they call me that because I've been involved or giving service to the Apollo Theater for over 55 years. And today I am celebrating the Kwanzaa and Nguzo Saba principle of Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And the principle is to build and maintain our community together and to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve those problems together. I embrace this principle in all my affairs, in my daily life, with my family. Imagine this, every Sunday we have a Zoom meeting, right, with my family, and we have goals, right? And collectively we come together, we talk about those goals that we want to reach, and each of us are given responsibilities to reach that goal. That's what we do as a family. At my workplace, at the world famous Apollo Theater, we come together as a staff and we have goals, and each of us are given responsibilities. Even this broadcast is a collective effort. So with that in mind, I just want to wish you all a very, very happy Kwanzaa, and may the creator of all things continue to bless you with good health, peace, and prosperity.
Hi, I'm Sade Lithcutt, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Black Theater in Harlem, New York. I'm celebrating the Kwanzaa principle Ujamaa, cooperative economics. At NBT, we know Black dollars and Black business matters. By collectively spending our money within our community, we strengthen every aspect of our ecosystem. We celebrate this principle every day by creating opportunities for Black entrepreneurship through empowering Black artists and organizations to have a viable outlet to make and raise money to benefit their missions and creative output. Ujamaa literally means familyhood and suggests the sharing of work and wealth in the manner of a family. Founded by Dr. Barbara Ann Tier in 1968, the National Black Theater is a home away from home for Black artists, and so economic reciprocity of our family is the bedrock of how we show up for each other with radical love and care. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy Kwanzaa from your family at the National Black Theater.
Hello, Apollo friends. My name is Cameron Bruno, New York City Youth Poet Laureate, and I represent Urbanwood, NYC. I'm celebrating the Kwanzaa and Ngozo Saba principle of Nia. Purpose: to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. I embrace this principle, wrap it in dirt, plant the seed and watch it grow, knowing that this tree would cover me in the shade and feed some and hold some and love some and build some. What are we if not the change that we seek? How do we plant our footsteps in the right direction without a thought, an intention, without a movement? This is purpose, to wake up another day and fight to survive. Happy Kwanzaa, everyone.
Hi, my name is Camila Forbes. I'm the executive producer at the Apollo Theater. And the Kwanzaa principle I'm celebrating today is a principle of Kuumba, which means creativity. And at the Apollo, we celebrate that principle every single day out of the year because we are a home to Black cultural creativity. And how I celebrate that principle personally is that I journal every single day. That's an opportunity for me to put all of my creative impulses, instincts, and ideas on a piece of paper. And I always hope that some of those ideas will seep its way into the work that I'm building or the work that we do at the Apollo Theater. So it's wonderful sharing this moment with you all, and happy Kwanzaa, everyone.
Greetings, family. I am Chief Ayanda Ifadara Adeomi Clark, Ajibilu Awo of Oshogbo Land, and Chief Babalao of Ileo Tudapon Sokun Ifa Temple, based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm here this evening to discuss with you the concept of Imani, or faith. Imani is the seventh of the Nguzo Saba. It's the principle that we celebrate on the final day of Kwanzaa, but though it comes last in order, we know it is not least. For faith is a concept that is the cornerstone of who we are as African people. Faith is a concept that no matter the denomination or the religious affiliation, no matter the language in which we use to praise the Creator or contextualize ourselves within the universe, no matter the country of origin, we all know ourselves as spiritual beings. And Imani is that which allows us to contextualize ourselves as the spiritual beings that we are. Imani is the belief in that which we cannot see, smell, taste, hear, or touch, but that we know exists. Imani is the muscle that we use on a daily basis, the spiritual muscle that we engage with that allows us to remain strong. For like all of our muscles, if we don't use it, we lose it. So how do we utilize Imani? In Yoruba land, we say, Biesekam, Bawole, Akejiato. When the first leg enters the house, the second is sure to follow. When we take that first step, we know that the second leg will follow it. If we don't take the first step, then we don't know what will come next. So Imani requires us to be empowered, to take action, to do something. And when we do something, precedent tells us what will happen next. So Imani is the thing that allows me to know that when I call, my neighbors will come. When I am in need, the answer will be provided. Imani is the concept that allows me to, on a daily basis, move ever closer to the fulfillment of my destiny without fear, without doubt, without worry, without concern. It's what gives us our strength. So as we practice all of the Nguzo Saba, as we utilize all of the principles that empower and heal our community, as we utilize them, we have to know that the utilization of these principles will allow for our success and our victory. So, Imani is the last, but it definitely is not the least. with love, with respect. Ireo.
In this new era of mass information, I'm always amazed at how little investigation we do, at how uninformed and self-important we've become to think that these wheels with 20-inch spinning rims that we rolling on were built by our generation's new innovations alone. With our elite club memberships and college education, we specialize in mental masturbation as we philosophize about brand new solutions to bring about more inclusion as we politely omit the do-for-self elephant Dr. Maulana Karenga gifted us with this blueprint. I sit on panels, webinars, advisory boards, and please forgive me if I come off a little bored, but I keep looking back to move forward because I remember Sankofa. And not just because it was the name of a community African dance company I danced for as a child in Baltimore, or because it's the name of a film by Haile Gerima I traveled with at the age of 6 when my mother sang freedom songs and I sang along. I remember her telling me when Disney tried to buy the rights to it, offering Haile enough to purchase a small empire. He denied them, knowing the integrity compromises they'd require, and instead desired to empower the black dollar, traveling city by caravan, renting out movie houses to house sensitive conversations about the complexities of this great black nation. We are a people that must be handled with care. We were there in droves, ready to unpack the hard stuff like who are we? Why are we? What were we meant to be, and how do we restore our stolen legacy? He made his first million just off of creativity, cooperative economics, and collective work and responsibility. Kuumba, Ujima, Ujama. It was a sight to see, a sea of colorful black folks in dashikis, head wraps, and ishoke. Glad to be in the black skin they were in, unsanctioned, unapologetic self-love. Resonated loudly throughout the halls of every theater we filled without a sponsor, a cosigner, or a plug. Fragmented phrases of freedom songs and tearful hugs. My childhood taught me about umoja, unity through struggle and community. I grew. I am the offspring of the ones who survived the civil rights and the liberation movements that were sabotaged. The Nguzo Saba was the way we lived all year long. Not just the words we were made to remember in December through Kwanzaa songs. Nguzo Saba was the coded messages on quilts hung over stilts outside of the slave quarters as a roadmap to freedom. It was the follow the drinking gourd and don't stop running until you get to the north by any means necessary. It was the remembrance that before you defeat the enemy, you must first defeat your own conditioning. Walking by faith, not by fear. Now that's Imani. Understanding that all things will come together in their divine timing, and we just have to be ready. Knowing what your worth is, living in your purpose. Now that's Nia. I say all this to say, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The principles are right here. But don't just listen to what I'm saying. I need you to hear. Feel me when I say, Kwanzaa is not just 7 days. It is a lifestyle designed to save, resurrect, and raise our collective community from the living grave. And if we would but remember the ways of our ancestors, and every month, not just December, all the chants and cries of protest we stand in the streets and utter will begin to build a new nation from the slums and the gutters that will stand and tower over the largest skyscraper as our guiding rudder. We have never been minor, always major. We have more power than we know and certainly more favor. And if we are to be saved at all, we must be our own saviors. Now that's self-determination. Happy Kwanzaa from mumufresh.
Throughout our 40-year history, Forces of Nature Dance Theater has been an embodiment of the principles of the Nguzo Saba. This Nia, or purpose, is ever present in our work with youth of all ages through performances, master classes, training programs, and partnerships. We strive to strengthen the youth in our community by connecting them with their ancestral traditions. And one of the ways we did so was to bring some of our young Harlem dancers over to the motherland. You are about to see the results of our efforts with the Harlem Children's Zone's Forces of Nature Youth Academy of Dance and Wellness. this is home for us. You know, you are family. The young people from the Harlem Children's Zone, they are so excited to come here and meet children and other young artists from South Africa. This is a big deal for us.
Everybody here, like, when we got here, it was more like a community. Like, I didn't feel like somebody who didn't come from here. I felt like, oh, okay, I'm here to do what I gotta do, and like, I'm appreciating what everybody is like doing here for me as well.
I speak it through dance. That's how I tell my story. That's how I tell where I'm from. That's how I explain my struggle. I speak through dance.
I'm usually used to seeing New York, and to be able to come here and see different people, different foods, just a different space is just something amazing that I never thought I would be able to do. And to be able to do it, it's like, that's
want to make sure that the people that are coming after you are going to continue the legacy.
Because the past informs the present, and the present will determine your future.
Dance for me, it's a way to express myself. Like, I know all the times I can't say what I want to say, but I know when you throw in music, I'm gonna be able to dance what I wanna convey to you, you know?
To me, dance is like a second language. Like, I can dance all day, every day if I wanted to. I do it when I'm stressed, I do it when I'm happy, I do it when I'm hungry, I do it when me and my mom get in an argument. Like, it's just something that I do all the time. So it's become something that's like, it's become like kind of like a best friend.
This theater was not just alive in terms of entertainment. The people came alive. There was a connection that those children made with this audience to me.
This experience will last forever. They're over the moon. And you've allowed us all to create these new experiences that no one can ever take away.
Beloveds, I have always appreciated that our people have so much in common, a global black experience, if you will, and yet there are differences too. For example, everybody loves good food, but they sure don't cook the same way in Roxbury as they do in New Orleans. And Memphis hip hop doesn't sound like Brooklyn hip hop. So naturally, that same dynamic applies to Kwanzaa. With so much upheaval in our lives recently, isn't it a good thing to know that Kwanzaa's core, the Nguzo Saba, the Kanara, the tradition of it all, that core remains the same wherever you go. But let's journey across the USA and see how the kuumba, the creativity of Kwanzaa traditions, differs around the country.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Melanie Luja.
And I am O'Shea Luja.
And we're coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, right in front of the Watts Towers in the District of Watts.
We're coming to you to give energy to this sacred, most beautiful season of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was originally spearheaded in 1966 by Dr. Malana Karenga, 1 year after the 1965 Watts Revolt.
The first day of Kwanzaa, whatever day that falls on, every day of that year, you represent that principle. So on the first day of Kwanzaa, all across the world, we celebrate Umoja, which means unity.
And in 2020, unity is more important than ever as the world experiences a global pandemic. We like to give huge shout out and energy to the historic Apollo Theater for hosting this virtual event where people across the diaspora can celebrate Kwanzaa together.
So with that, we say to you all, Habari Gani.
Habari Gani, which means what's the news? And the news is
Umoja.
Umoja.
Unity.
Ashe.
Hi, my name is Aisha Marable, and I am the Director of Community Engagement at NJPAC. I produce the annual Kwanzaa, where we infuse the most robust culture and arts programming during the holiday season to highlight the creativity of our people of the diaspora. Thanks to the Cooperman family, we embody the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba. We work in unity, Umoja, with more than 10 community partners, including the mayor's office, to feature more than 50 self-determined local artists, Kuji Chakalia, in panel discussions, storytelling, arts and crafts, beading, drumming, and movement classes like West African dance, Zumba, and Capoeira. Throughout the day, local dance studios, step masters, marching bands, and our elders are spotlighted. And through collective work and responsibility, Ujima, we even host a marketplace that features many amazing artisans, vendors, and small businesses to encourage Ujamaa, cooperative economics. As the people leave, we also give away toys and food and coats. So many people depart our Kwanzaa celebration with so much more than they came with. Part of our purpose, Nia, is to engage as many people of all ages in artistic, inclusive, inspirational, and educational experiences, as many as possible. And by faith, Imani, we inspire families and future artists to depart full of hope, ignited in their creativity. Kwanzaa is truly the best time for community engagement and unity, and we so enjoy doing it at NJPAC.
Outside, and this is the Better Family Life Cultural Education and Business Center. It's a 60,000 square feet facility that highlights all of the principles of Kwanzaa. And we're also building in this neighborhood, rehabbing all of the houses that you see. One of the principles of Kwanzaa is to make our community thrive and be better and more beneficial than what we inherited. And we are celebrating and working. Kwanzaa is about doing the work. We've got to rebuild communities. Thank you very much.
Habari Gani. I'm Gina Page, CEO and co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. Since 2003, we've been the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people all over the world. We've been on a mission to help transform the way we view ourselves as Black people and the way we view Africa. And we do that through using DNA to connect you to the motherland. Kwanzaa in DC, where I live, is a really fun time of the year. While we're no longer Chocolate City, there still is a very strong Black consciousness here. And so we have organizations like the United Black Community that host events every day during Kwanzaa. One of the events that I particularly enjoy and am impressed by is the Kwanzaa Flash Mob that's sponsored by Appeal Incorporated. They select 7 businesses, assign 1 to each day of Kwanzaa, and then the community is encouraged to go and patronize, spend money in each business. You get a sticker for each business that you patronize. And then on the last night during the Imani celebration, everyone is entered into a grand prize drawing. Personally, I love Kwanzaa because it encapsulates principles that I live by every day of the year and that I run my business based on every day of the year. And so what I do is I have a few friends that I call each morning to challenge them on the principle, make sure they remember what it means, and we talk a little bit about what it means to us. And then each evening I light a candle on my Kinara and I give thanks. I give thanks for my family. I give thanks for my community. I give thanks for my ancestry. I am Black, I am proud, and I celebrate Kwanzaa all year round.
Hello, my name is Imara Kennedy, and I come to you from Sweet Auburn Avenue, right here in the great city of Atlanta. You know, during this December festive holiday season, I would be walking the same path to partake of the annual Kwanzaa celebration that annually takes place right here in the heart of downtown Atlanta at this illustrious facility, the Auburn Avenue Research Library on African American Culture and History. Of course, during this time of COVID-19, we know that these physical gatherings cannot take place, and hence is where the power of technology comes into play. So we salute and thank the Apollo Theater for bringing us together virtually, not only across this country, but across this globe as brothers and sisters, as we celebrate, elevate, and uplift the spirit and the principles of Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa from Sweet Auburn Avenue and the city of Atlanta.
2020 was a rough year for most of us, no question about it. But I want you to pause and think how much rougher it would have been without our essential workers. For the past 9 years of Regeneration Night at the Apollo, we've searched and honored a family that embodied the Nguzo Saba. This year, we're expanding those honors to 3 families. Now, people, you think your job is hard? Imagine being a hospital employee in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic. So we thank registered nurses Christine Bellarmino and Sharice Bunch.
Daughter Sharice has worked for Harlem Hospital Adult Emergency Department for 5 years, and her mother Christine is a head nurse and educator with over 37 years of Harlem Hospital experience.
When police officers did our people wrong, we oppose those wrongs by taking it to the streets and to the polls. Now we want to honor a family of officers committed to truly serving their communities, the Brightmans.
Kenrick Brightman was born and raised in Harlem and has served in the force for over 18 years. He's currently with the NYPD Community Affairs Bureau, as is his brother Douglas. Douglas began his career at Harlem's 23rd Precinct and has received the Distinguished Medal of Valor. Douglas's wife, Naja, is an evidence collection officer in the Bronx. Their eldest son, Darius, is a corrections officer in Houston, Texas. And their nephew, Stephen Smith, is with New York's 20th Precinct Detective Squad.
Everyone, imagine how your year would have been if you couldn't have had deliveries of packages. I'm talking about checks. I'm talking about medicine. Yo, I'm talking about food. Imagine what the outcome of the elections might have been if millions of people couldn't safely submit their ballots through the mail. You can imagine all that, but you didn't have to experience any of it because United States postal employees never faltered. So we salute the Pollards.
East Harlem employee Audrey and her husband Vernon at JFK Airport have worked for the U.S. Postal Service for a combined 70 years. Both Pollards have also been longtime donors to USPS blood drives, and through that program, Mrs. Pollard gave bone marrow that saved the life of a cancer patient who is now 16 years in remission and part of the extended Pollard family.
Each of tonight's families embody Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And every essential worker you saw represents millions of others you didn't see in their professions and in others. You see, they're the people who can't work remotely on Zoom and who literally risk their lives each time they go out to work, and yet they do it anyway. So on behalf of the Apollo Theater, Forces of Nature Dance Theater, the Better Life Family Foundation, and I'm sure everyone watching, we say that America is forever indebted, and your community truly thanks you for your service.
In my bones, I know that I will not be the person that I was. None of us will be. And soon, that collective tension and grief is going to simultaneously spill out into the street, humans hanging furtively with the urge to connect, a polarity of tentative health and death, a hard restart, a new beginning, a refresh. There's probably a less violent way to describe the very genesis of the known universe, but some probably white, probably man decided to call it the Big Bang. Big, like gun. Bang, like drum. Let a black hole tell it the universe begins with music and violence, like how a young man's Friday Harlem night might go from silence to sirens, tone and tumult. It's a universal truth. We're all becoming something else. Even if all we become is a memory, all humans are becoming something other than our bodies. Let the black hole tell it, humans are chaos theory. We're sewn up sacks of the same stuff as stars, bearing the scars of the capacity to love. I love black people. Whole. Music and violence at the center, held together by love and self-forgiveness, a circle black and whole like town business or the corner of 125th and Frederick Douglass. There are dark matters exploding like a sun this spring. Black people disproportionately dying. Harlem world sicker than the average. Racism still the deadliest virus. We will not be who we were. United States vision scattered like dividing snakes shedding their skins while slithering away. Fluid transformation, poem and mourning in motion, life and death and light and dark and art. On Earth, Little Richard's passing is a cosmic event. On Earth, black music at its best is an exploded black hole responding to the call of America at its worst. In the new beginning, the world is blinded by the light of the best of us. D Nice spinning and Michelle in here with the rest of us. Art is the post-COVID Big Bang. Inevitably, there is a black hole at its center, marking life and death, systemic racism and economic stress, the energy of 7 billion suns, and love above it all. We rally around each other. We've been here before. There's no beginning and there is no end. You felt this on the dance floor. In the time of fracture, we are whole and healing. Star on the marquee bright. Welcome to the evolution shine. An exploded black hole, a new beginning. Big, like the pit of the black imagination. Whole, like all of us hitting the drum. Calling in a healthy world to come.
Mbadeuyo angana yere fa nyani ede mbadenuyo jonti yere fa la dunu ya sigi mamo jodi yere faga nyani siye adama de nya sigi kagele kani yere faga sa bimogo ya sigi mamo jodi yere faga nyani ni nyomo na udanga ba e bara soro dununya ni keri basago e kaba eni donindo dununya ni keri fasago e kaba e bara soro dununya ga imani yere faga nyani nyekide numbila nyana finjugu ubumine mine ufologo toko sunguru ba muso dendewa jongani yere faga nyani nyani te bajama faga nyani jongani yere faga nyani mbade uyo angana yere faga nyani yede mbade nuyo jonti yere faga la nikeri basago e kaba enindonindo dunuya nikeri fasago e kaba e bara soro dunuya ga imani yere faga nyani nyekide numbila nyana pinjugula ubumine kufologo toko sunguru ba muso dendewa jongani yere faga nyani nyani te bajama jongani yere faga nyani auma sangare wa kone ma yere faga toroya ko yebe yo kani yere faga nyani nyede yebe yo jonti yere faga la madamu sise kodo kani yere faga toroya ibali malu jigiye kani yere faga sa iwolo de umbife kani yere faga nyani siye sise bife kani yere faga sa imani yere faga nyani ka aumbela nyana finjugu ubumine ku ufologo toko sunguru ba musu dinte wa yebe jongani yere faga nyani nyani te banjama jongani yere faga Seidu yo kani yere faga nyani Seidu kan kodo kani yere faga sa Madina ala ere Seidu kodo kani yere faga toroya libere ville Seidu kan kani yere faga sa imani yere faga nyani nyekide numbila nyana finjugula ubumine ku ufologo toko kamelemba koro dente wasidu jongani yere faga nyani nyani te bajama ai nyani mani nyani jongani yere faga nyani kani yere faga sa sise batife kani yere faga nyani ibali maujiye kani yere faga sa iwolo de umbife kani yere faga nyani tiye mali yenu jigibika kani yere faga nyani amadu kan bi fɛ kani yɛrɛ faga ɲani dɛ.
Brothers and sisters, my beloved family, this year's program has come to an end, but our journey into the light has just begun.
Abdel, Dr. Maulana Karenga said he was blessed to see his creation of Kwanzaa begin in a family home, spread around the world, and be embraced by millions of African people all around the planet. So in that spirit, we hope everyone listening will embrace Kwanzaa's 7 principles, the Nguzo Saba, into your daily practice, into your daily life. Use them as guides for success and survival during these days of challenge, and continue Dr. Karenga's vision to bring good into the world next year and in all your years to come. And on behalf of the Apollo Theater and Forces of Nature, thank you for joining us. And in the words of Dr. Karenga's mission, ultimately remember, with hard work, long struggle, and a whole lot of love and understanding, we can take our place in human history as a proud and productive people. Happy Kwanzaa, stay safe, and GBE, God bless everybody.
Apollo Theater. My family always tells stories about you. I've heard about the time Mom saw Mary J. or the wild night she saw Jay-Z. My grandma always tells me about seeing Sarah Vaughan and B.B. King on your stage. The kids at school talk about you too. How you help the community and everyone knows you. When I was little, I would play between your red velvet seats before a show. Now my friends and I have started a band. We're always watching videos of James Brown dancing and Biggie Smalls rhyming. Now that I'm older, I don't run up and down your aisles anymore. But now my friends and I dream of winning amateur night like the greats, of seeing our names on your marquee. So I've got a question for you, Apollo. Will you be there when I'm ready for your stage?